Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're not so much wading in as we are being thrown headfirst into a cosmic ocean of prophecy and fire.
It's the ultimate case study in sudden disruption, isn't it? We're looking at the absolute foundational sources of this epic story. We're talking the prologue right up through that initial desperate flight from Emond's field.
Yeah, this is where a world of simple, predictable rules just gets obliterated utterly by these ancient cataclysmic forces.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is to analyze these opening moments. We want to extract the crucial, often horrifying details of the world's history, the breaking, and then connect that directly to the immediate danger facing, three completely unprepared village boys.
So if you want the shortcut to understanding the why of this world and why these specific characters suddenly matter on a cosmic scale, this is it. This is the one.
We've synthesized that global trauma, the madness of the male channelers, with a minute-by-minute account of how that trauma comes crashing back into the two rivers. So we're not just summarizing plot, we're uncovering the connections that drive the pattern itself.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's unpack this monumental shift.
Let's do it.
Before the world just completely exploded, we have to establish the quiet, the almost suffocating normalcy of where this all kicks off. We're introduced to Rand Elafor, Matt Cawthon, and Perrin living in the Two Rivers, specifically Emond's field. And the first thing that strikes me is the extreme sense of isolation.
And that isolation is absolutely deliberate. It's crucial to the story's initial setup. You look at a map, the Two Rivers is tucked away at the very edge of Andor, basically forgotten by the outside world.
It's not just rural, it feels like. A different time period.
Exactly. It's tradition-bound to the point of stagnation. I mean, their concerns are so hyper-local. They're worried about the timing of the sheep shearing, what the women's circle is going to say about something.
Right, and making sure the spring pole is ready for the Beltane Festival.
That's the biggest event of their year.
Yeah.
They live in a world where history is just, tales sung by the occasional Gleeman who wanders through. Their biggest anxieties are social.
Yeah, Rand is worried about seeing Egwene, maybe trying to dodge a marriage proposal from a widow his dad knows. Matt's just focused on his next prank.
And their entire economy, their connection to everything else, hinges on the timely arrival of one man, the peddler, Padan Fain.
That's wild.
He's their sole link to the outside world for months on end. So when the story opens, the fact that Fain is late is their biggest actual problem. That level of innocence is what makes the violence that follows so shocking.
It's a bubble.
It's a cultural time capsule, really. The peace they enjoy is only possible because the world outside their little bubble is terrified of the past.
Exactly. It's the ultimate contrast. They're worrying about honey cakes, and as the prologue immediately tells us, the entire world outside their valley is built on this pile of apocalyptic ashes. So now that we've established that profound innocence, let's zoom in on the source of the terror that is about to just shatter it to pieces.
To really understand the threat facing Rand, Matt, and Perrin, you have to anchor yourself in the events of the prologue. We are talking about the breaking of the world. Yep. And this is not just some historical event. It's a spiritual and geographical trauma that dictates everything about the current age.
And the focal point of that trauma is a name, Luz Zerin Telamon. I find it so fascinating how the source introduces him not as a villain, but as the world's savior, the leader of the light.
He was. In his prime, he was the most powerful man in history. He lived during the Age of Legends, a time when humanity had mastered the one power and achieved wonders we can, barely even imagine.
Like what kind of wonders?
Instantaneous travel, weather control, a societal structure far beyond the fractured kingdoms we see in the present. And Luz Therin was the Tarelin, the first among the servants. He was the chief strategist, the general who led the forces of light against the Dark One.
But the scene we're shown, it's not a victory parade. It is just a moment of horrific personal defeat. We find him in this ruined hall, standing over the bodies of his entire family.
His wife Elena, his sons, his daughters, all slain.
And the absolute gut punch is the revelation that he did it. He killed them. He's forever branded the Kinslayer. How could the world's greatest hero commit such an atrocity?
It was calculated. The sources detail how the Dark One's top lieutenant, a man named Elan Morin, or Ishamael, orchestrated this moment perfectly. The Dark One had just been sealed away, a momentary victory for the light. But the Shadow's final revenge wasn't military, it was psychological.
So Ishamael found him at his weakest point.
At his absolute lowest. He found Luz Therin in the depths of his agony, completely unmoored from reality, murmuring that Elena should be here to offer a guest welcome. He's completely lost his mind.
And Ishmael's taunt is so chilling. He looks at Lews Therin, who has just destroyed everything he holds sacred, and asks, "What will you do with that?"
It's unbelievably cruel. It wasn't about a physical wound. It was about ensuring that the Savior would be so mentally shattered that his next actions would destroy the very civilization he had just saved.
Which leads us to the mechanism of the whole global ruin, the corruption of Sedin.
Right, the true source, the reservoir of the one power, is divided. You have Sedar, the female half, and Sedin, the male half. In his grief and madness, Lews Therin reached out for Sedin. Pure, raw power. He desperately tried to draw all of it. The source notes say he drew more of the one power than he could channel unaided.
And the result was just catastrophic. The Dark One, in the moment he was being sealed away, lashed out and tainted Sedin with a poison that specifically targeted men.
Yes.
I want to just dwell on that description for a second. It wasn't just an explosion. The text describes it as the air turning to fire, the fire to light liquefied. That's not local damage. That's the thing that drove every single male Aes Sedai insane all at once.
It was absolute madness married to absolute power. You have to imagine the most powerful people on the planet, now driven by terrifying delusions, their minds utterly broken, they turned that immense power on the world itself.
That's what caused the breaking.
That's the breaking. The sources speak of them shattering the world, literally. Warping lands, creating deserts, boiling the seas, splitting continents apart. The descriptions aren't hyperbole. The moon was as blood and the sun was as ashes. The seas boiled and the living envied the dead.
So when things finally settled down, the world was just fractured, geographically devastated, and psychologically scarred by the memory of men who could channel.
Precisely. And this is why the Aes Sedai of the current day, who are all women channeling the clean half, Sedar, are so feared and distrusted. They wield the same fundamental power that almost ended the human race.
And that all connects back to the bigger mythology, this idea of the Wheel of Time being cyclical.
Exactly. It's essential context for what's happening in Emond's field. We see that archival note, which is really the philosophical anchor for the whole story. And it came to pass in those days, as it had come before and would come again, that the dark lay heavy on the land.
That idea that history repeats itself is terrifying. It means the chaos our boys are about to experience isn't random.
No, it's a predetermined pattern beginning all over again. The sources establish that the dragon, titled Lews Therin Bor, is the central figure in this cycle. He's destined to save the world, but his return, the Dragon Reborn, is also fated to bring a second, equally devastating breaking.
So the dread isn't just historical, it's a prophecy, an existential threat.
It is. The new dragon is necessary, but because he's a man, he has to channel the tainted Sedin. The fear is that the Savior will go mad and destroy everything again, and that explains why the name Dragon is one that still makes men shudder thousands of years later.
The Dark One won a long-term victory.
He did, by guaranteeing that the world's salvation carries the seed of its own destruction.
So we've established this cosmic terror lurking in the past. Now we see how it starts to manifest in the isolated present of the two rivers. And it starts with a feeling, right? A deeply unsettling psychological intrusion.
The first omen is Rand's encounter with the Black Rider on the road to Emond's field. The source identifies this creature immediately as a Myrddraal, or a half-man, one of the chief lieutenants of the Shadow.
And these aren't just like guys in black clooks on horses.
Not at all. They're genetically terrifying creatures. Pale, smooth skin, no visible eyes, always hiding their faces in these deep, shadowed hoods. They are fundamentally inhuman.
What I found most compelling was the psychological impact of it. Before any violence, Rand isn't scared of a mugger. He's confronted by pure, distilled hatred.
Yes. The feeling radiating from it is hatred for everything that lived. Hatred for him most of all, for him above all things. It's an intense personal focus that seems impossible for a creature that doesn't even know who he is.
And that focus is the key, isn't it? The Shadow didn't send a random scout. They sent an agent specifically seeking out the Dragon Reborn.
Precisely. The terror is then confirmed when Mat confesses to Rand that he saw the exact same figure, and he says, "I could swear he hated me, that he wanted to kill me."
Which immediately expands the scope of the hunt. It suggests that this isn't just about one person. The Shadow is hedging its bets, or maybe hunting all three of them for a reason.
It raises that important question. If the Myrddraal is hunting one specific individual, the Dragon Reborn, why are three boys being simultaneously stalked? The source material is deliberately ambiguous here. It forces you to realize the danger is way more complex than just a simple pursuit.
And then the truly foreign arrives. The simple life of Emond's is instantly transformed with the arrival of two people who basically embody the history they've only heard about in stories: Moiraine Sedai and Lan Mandragoran.
Moiraine's appearance alone is a cultural shockwave. She's an Sedai, a woman who wields the One Power. She arrives wearing the deep blue of the Blue Aja, a crystal in her hair, and on her finger is the Great Serpent Ring.
That ring, the serpent eating its own tail, it's more than just jewelry.
It represents the Wheel of Time itself, the cyclical nature of existence. The text says it's older than the Wheel of Time, which implies a destiny that spans ages. Her very presence is a statement.
And her companion, Lan, is the immediate physical threat, a warder.
Sworn to protect her. And the sources just highlight his absolute professionalism. Rand sees his sword and immediately knows it's part of him, totally unlike the clumsy blades on the merchant guards.
Mat has that great line that Lan makes the other guards look like cur dogs.
He's silent, vigilant, and utterly foreign to a place where using a weapon is basically a forgotten art.
So Moiraine's cover story is that she's a student of history and a collector of old stories.
Impeccable cover for a place like the Two Rivers. But she quickly betrays her deeper knowledge. She talks about the great pattern the wheel weaves and admits that we can only watch and study and hope. That's not the language of a casual historian.
No.
That's the language of someone trying to read the loom of destiny itself. She isn't collecting old stories, she's tracking the next chapter.
And her arrival immediately stirs up all this fear in the village. Padan Fane's delay is suddenly forgotten. We see the political fallout in the village council with Senbu just freaking out.
Senbu represents that entrenched, conservative fear of the outside world. And that fear immediately coalesces around the Dragon Reborn. He voices the deep-seated cultural terror that Moiraine is there looking for a false dragon.
Right, because an Aes Sedai showing up can only mean bad news, basically.
In their minds, yes. He even links her arrival to the weird weather, the fact that it's still winter when spring should have arrived a month earlier. The Shadow's forces are visibly distorting the natural world to help their hunt.
And in the middle of all this suspicion, Moiraine makes a subtle but critical move. She gives Rand, Mat, and Perrin each a coin.
It seems like a simple token, a travel gift. But it's Moiraine marking her quarry. She's identified the 3 potential threads of the pattern she has to follow, even if she doesn't know which one is the thread.
She's sealing their fate without ever having to say the words out loud. And then the psychological terror just gives way to sheer brutality. Winternight. The shadow strikes back hard.
This is the moment the Two Rivers ceases to be a peaceful retreat. The shock is the complete and utter breakdown of reality for them. The sources describe it with just palpable fear. Creatures that belong in fireside stories. Trollocs, light above, Trollocs are now screaming through their village.
These terrifying human-animal hybrids with, like, boar heads and wolf heads.
Razor claws, crude swords. They came slashing at people with their swords, torching houses, howling to freeze a man's blood. It wasn't just a raid, it was an organized, lethal invasion.
And we see the horror up close with Rand and his father, Tam, isolated on their farm. Tam, the quiet shepherd, is suddenly forced to fight, and Rand discovers his father is way more than the simple man he believed him to be.
The fight is brief, but it's devastating. Cam is grievously wounded by a poisoned blade, and a fever just rapidly consumes him. Rand has to build this crude litter and drag his father through the terrifying dark forest toward the village. The primal fear is so strong, with Rand thinking every shadow hides a pack of starving wolves.
That agonizing flight is the crucible where Rand's old life is just burned away.
It is.
And during this scramble for supplies, Rand makes the pivotal discovery that shatters his identity. He finds a sword in Tam's belongings, and it's not just any sword. It's expertly crafted and marked with 2 herons.
Let's focus on the significance of that heron mark. In this world, swords are rare. A heron mark signifies a blade master, and that isn't just a skilled fighter, it's a title you only get through years of absolute dedication, training in specific academies, or by dueling other masters.
So Tamalthor, this quiet Two Rivers farmer, is a master swordsman.
The contradiction is just overwhelming. Rand's internal monologue confirms it. A village boy with a heron mark blade, impossible. It proves Tam's past was heroic and violent, completely divorced from the life Rand knew. The sword is an artifact proving the man he called father lied to him for 20 years.
This emotional betrayal sets the stage for the core revelation, which comes from Tam himself, delirious with fever. The words are so raw. You were blue with the cold, should have been dead too. Crying there, crying in the snow. I couldn't just leave a child.
He wasn't Tam's child. Tam found him.
Where? On Dragonmount, the mountain that rose when Lews Therin destroyed the world, the ultimate symbol of the dragon, that's where Tam found Rand as a baby.
It's the moment the present day snaps directly into the mythic past.
Yeah.
It links Rand not just to some unknown parents, but to the entire dreaded prophecy of destruction from the prologue.
And when they finally get to Emond's Field, the peace is just gone forever. Half the village is in ashes, the spring pole is blackened.
But out of that terror, you see a grim determination start to form, galvanized by Lann's silent, efficient guidance. The villagers are suddenly forced to confront the need for defense.
And Moiraine's actions just underline the cosmic stakes. She heals Tam's wound using the One Power, but she makes it clear she can't save Rand from destiny. She says it's beyond my power to stop the wheel from turning.
The destruction of the two rivers wasn't an accident. It was the pattern adjusting itself, forcing its central player onto the board.
This initial chaos is just designed to mold these three boys, but it seems really focused on shattering Rand's entire self-perception. His transition from simple shepherd to this sought-after figure is instantaneous and brutal.
He loses everything in one night. His home, his safety, and the fundamental truth of who his father was. He goes from worrying about a harvest to realizing he was literally discovered on the epicenter of a global trauma.
And he has to consider the terrifying coincidence that the attack was centered on him.
Which Moiraine confirms. She points out the attacks targeted the homes of the three boys and the blacksmith, where Perrin works. This was a targeted strike, not a random raid. Rand has to wrestle with the idea that he's someone the ultimate forces of evil are actively trying to eliminate.
And the psychological warfare against him just escalates with the dream of Ba'alzamon, his first direct encounter with this figure who embodies the Dark One.
The descriptions are so vivid and terrifying. The fiery eyes, the flames so hot they dry the sweat on his palms.
Ba'alzamon's goal seems to be to poison Rand's mind against Moiraine, who's the one person actually offering safety.
Yes. He uses the truth of Rand's origins against him, claiming Rand's parents were chosen by the White Tower, and that the Tower will use Rand until you are consumed. And he name-drops historical figures, Davian and Urian Stonebow, who were failed false dragons broken by the White Tower.
So he's making Moiraine's offer of help sound like a trap.
And then there's the ultimate taunt. Ba'alzamon claims ownership, saying, "You are mine, have always been mine," which deeply complicates everything. If the Dark One believes he already owns the Dragon Reborn, what does Moiraine truly know?
That ambiguity is huge, but we have to broaden the spotlight a little because the pursuit is focused on all three of them.
Right. While Rand's crisis is existential, Mad Cawthon's reaction is this fascinating mix of fear and recklessness.
Mat, the prankster, is clearly terrified by the merge roll, but his fear seems to immediately morph into this dark bravado. When Moiraine gives him the coin, he's drawn to it, to the idea of personal gain. The disruption seems to trigger a chaotic, impulsive streak in him.
Exactly. His fear turns into this almost manic desire for excitement or wealth. He's wrestling with immediate, visceral temptations, which are very different from Rand's burden of prophecy.
And then there's Perrin. Perrin Ibra, the gentle giant, an apprentice blacksmith, physically imposing, but he's quiet, thoughtful, and has this deep aversion to violence.
Perrin's internal struggle is so powerful. The violence of Winternight forces him to defend himself, and the sources reveal his disturbing, sudden affinity for the axe. He discovers a strength in himself that frightens him way more than the Trollocs do.
So his struggle isn't about destiny, it's about the fear of his own capacity for brutality.
Yes, it foreshadows a much deeper, more specialized thread in his own personal part of the pattern.
So Moiraine is juggling these three completely different volatile archetypes. The shepherd with a hidden past, the rogue consumed by fear and luck, and the gentleman terrified of his own strength.
And the inevitable decision, fueled by Lann's confirmation that they want you very badly indeed, is flight. Moiraine proposes the journey to Tar Valon, the White Tower, calling it a place of safety. She knows walls won't stop a half-man. She has to get them out.
And the group forms, Rand, Mat, and Perrin. Egwene joins too against the wishes of the wisdom Nynaeve, insisting she has to go to protect Rand.
And Tom Merrilin, the Gleeman. He joins them, but he's extremely wary of the Aes Sedai. He gives the boys that explicit warning. The price of Aes Sedai help is always smaller than you can believe, always greater than you can imagine.
So they're trading certain immediate death for an unknown, potentially devastating future.
And that's where we leave them. The departure from Emond's Field isn't some heroic march. It's a frantic, silent escape in the middle of the night. The source material emphasizes the psychological strain. They are riding hard, pushing the horses to their absolute limit.
Yeah, the atmosphere is just pure fear. They're galloping through a darkness where trees along the road loomed up without warning, then were gone. The only sound is the horses and this mournful cry of a night bird. Lan keeps them in a tight knot because no one dares to be a little alone in the night.
And the pursuit is immediate and severe. The Trollocs attacked in an entire fist, which means hundreds of them. They can't rest. And worse, they sight Drac-Ar monstrous, flying agents of the shadow. The danger isn't miles behind them, it's closing in fast.
And this flight path isn't random. This is crucial. Moiraine is guiding them on a specific, dangerous path. She's taking them away from all the major roads, away from civilization, and steering them toward the Arenelle River.
She is. She's moving them along a path she believes the pattern requires, which necessarily involves moving away from the known safety of civilization and toward the desolate, dangerous ruins of the world.
Their first stops, Terran Ferry, inns like the Four Kings. They show that the Shadow has this huge network. It's not just monsters, it's human dark friends ready to betray them at every turn. They are constantly being watched.
We are. The net is wide.
So as we close this deep dive, we're left with this massive, provocative question. We know Rand is running from a legacy tied to the dragon. We know Moiraine thinks he's the one she has to protect. But Ba'alzamon has shown himself to all three boys in their dreams, claiming ownership and repeatedly saying that he has never been bound.
And that's the ultimate tension driving their flight. Why is the Heart of the Dark so relentlessly focused on pursuing three village boys when only one can be the Dragon Reborn? Is Moiraine wrong? Or is the Dark One deliberately trying to corrupt all three Ta'veren, the three central threads of the pattern, before Moiraine can reach them?
She thinks Tarvalon is the answer, but Ba'alzamon just demonstrated that Tarvalon is the symbol of the very power that broke the world in the first place.
They may have escaped the two rivers, but they've only just started running, directly into the deeper mysteries and ruined cities of the world. And the most immediate and dangerous threats far beyond Trollocs and Myrddraal, are now looming large on the horizon.
Indeed. The pattern has begun to weave its most intricate and dangerous tapestry, and they are merely threads caught in the loom.
See you on the next deep dive.